Hi there. So you have your course basically set up and you've hit a point where you want to start adding some assignments and work on that gradebook a little bit. It's really super simple. I've opened up a course here that I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment into to walk you through that. I'm going to go into LO1, and because I want to add something and I'm editing the course, remember, I'm going to go to the top and turn editing on, and that's going to give me the option to add an activity or resource. And you're going to see that show up in every section of the course, depending where you want it to land. Remember, if you oops and put it in the wrong place, it's as simple as using this move tool in front of it, and you can grab it and drag it anywhere you want. So I'm going to say add an activity or resource. And likely what you're going to see is all of these choices come up. I encourage you, if you haven't heard me say it before, to star the things that you use a lot, which would include assignment, might be pages, might be quizzes, depending on how you're setting up your course. Then when you go to add something, it'll open starred, and you're not looking at that huge list. You're just looking at the ones you use. But right now we are going to add an assignment. And it's going to take you to a page that are the settings for your assignment. So you're going to call it whatever you're going to call it. I'm going to be terribly creative and call it assignment number 1. In the description, you're going to tell them what they have to do. So it might be as easy as hand in assignment 1 here. Or there might be quite extensive instructions. There might be links to web pages and so on. If there are files that you need to give them here that they need to use to work with their assignment, you can either drop them into this additional files box, or like anywhere else in the course, you can pick a part of your instructions, hit the chain, and you could link and have the file in your instructions instead for them to download. Either way works perfectly well. Under availability, if you want to tie down the start date for that assignment, you can. If you want to tie down the due date, you can, or the remind to grade. I don't do most of those because remember, every date that you set today is a date you're going to end up having to change next time you want to use the course. So in all likelihood, looking at all of those, you're probably not going to actually set any of them. And I'm going to show you why in a second, because lots of you are tempted to use this due date. I wouldn't necessarily use that one. Submission types. There's 2 different possible ways for them to hand in an assignment for you in Moodle. One is a file submission, meaning they're going to hand in a file for you to open and work with. The other one is online text. Online text literally gives them a box on the screen to type in, which if you're going to be journaling, for instance, you might want to go that route. Other than that, the maximum number of uploaded files is set to 20. Probably that's ridiculous and you're only going to be having them hand in 1, but that's, again, depending on what sort of creative assignment you've come up with. Feedback types. Odds are you want to be able to leave a comment as part of the feedback. You're probably not using an offline grading worksheet, but you probably do want the feedback files option turned on in case you want to hand back a graded assignment in there or give them any other sort of support documentation. Submission settings. I don't bother saying the submit button. I do like to turn on the accept the submission statement. That means when a student hands something in, they have to check off that it is their own work and they haven't cheated, and like it doesn't guarantee that they haven't, obviously, but it makes them stop and think about that. You're not using groups, so you can ignore that. Notifications. Under here where it says notify graders about submissions, make sure that is a yes. Under grade, unless you're going to get into building rubrics, you're going to leave it as a point. Maximum grade you can change to anything you want. This does not change the weight in the course. So if it's something that you know in your head you're going to be grading out of 10 or 17 or 42, whatever, you can put any number in there that's going to make sense to you. Simple direct grading means you're just going to be entering a single number as a grade. The other 2 options are a marking guide and a rubric. A marking guide will give you categories to enter numbers for. A rubric will give you a table that you click to evaluate, and then it will assign the grade for you, depending what you want to do. Most are going to stay with simple direct grading. If you're interested in knowing more about the other 2, let me know and I can help you with that. Unless you have built grade categories, which most of you had not, leave it uncategorized. Activity completion. If you want to have a date that it's expected to be completed on, this is where you're going to set that date and tie a date to that. Again, most of you aren't doing that because you were involved every day with your students and they're all paced the same, that you'll be tracking that on your own. You don't need Moodle to do it for you. So I'm going to say save and return to course, and I'll show you what that looks like. So now at the bottom of LO1 where I added it, there's an assignment number 1. You see the hand with the assignment sitting on it. Oh, excuse me. That's Moodle's assignment icon. Now in terms of weighting things, on the left-hand side, I'm going to go into grades, which is going to take me to my gradebook. And you've got all your students in there, and now you can see assignment 1 sitting here. Grades will appear there as you grade. But at the top where it says grader report, go into gradebook setup. And I can see assignment 1 sitting there, and right now it has a weight of 1. Once you have all of your assignments in, you can go ahead and change those weights to whatever you want. Those are relative weights. So if the numbers are the same in that box for every assignment, that means the assignments are weighted equally. This does not change what you're going to enter when you grade it. The max grade over here is what controls what you're going to be typing in as a score as you grade those assignments. The weights don't have to add up to 100 either. Moodle handles the math and does it for you. Once a student has a grade, which I am actually going to show you, let's go back to grader, or hang on, go back to here for a second. Let's say I open this up and I'm going to grade it, even though nobody's handed anything in. There is a student, and you're just going to be entering a grade. So let's say she got 73 on that assignment. And at the bottom, I'm going to say save. Now here's, by the way, you would enter comments back to that student or hand them a file back. I'm going to hit save changes. And it's going to say, okay. At the top left, I'm going to go back to the course. And in fact, on the left side, I'm going to go back to the grades to show you what that did. Now you can see that this student got 73 in that assignment. Their course total is 73. As you fill them all in, Moodle does all the math for you. When this student logs in to see what her current grades look like, she gets to see what's called the grader or the user report, which means only a student can only see their own grades. They can't see one another's. Only you get to see them all. And if you have anything that I missed, holler, let me know and we'll fix that up.